Hello my kings, queens and fellow non-binary leaders, and welcome back to Nerdy Nakama. Today we have another one-shot that's called Flare-Up Days, and it's about the ship SakuAtsuAranKita. This is something we didn't have in a long while, and it's a Ven fanfic. Usually these come with heavier content warnings, however this one is fairly harmless. It does deal, however, with chronic illness and what it means, like what it feels like to live with that, so yeah, be aware of that. I hope I didn't misrepresent anything, and now I hope you enjoy. Let's go! For a little bit of context before we start, in this fanfic, Sakusa has hypermobile Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, which is something I'm currently getting tested for, which is why this is a Ven fanfic, and it comes with joint pains and, well, hypermobility. And I decided it would fit Sakusa because he already canonically has hypermobile wrists, so yeah, let's go! Good morning, Kiyomi. Are you feeling okay? Kita's eyes narrowed a little as he examined the bowed posture and deeply etched frown of his partner as he walked in. He was at the table in anticipation of sharing breakfast together since it was his off day. Usually he would be on his way to work already. Atsumu tried a few times to make him use the time to sleep in, feeling guilty that Kita woke up early when he didn't have to, just to eat with them. But he assured him he would even if he lived alone. He enjoyed his routine. Today he was glad more than usual that he did, as he noticed the telltale signs of irritation on Sakusa's face and the pain markers he attempted to hide. Yeah, I'm fine. Just not quite awake yet. You look uncomfortable. Are you in pain? He sat down next to him, examining him more closely, but leaving a thoughtful distance. Sakusa tolerated touch on okay days, sought it out rarely on good ones, but on bad ones, unannounced, it could send him spiraling. I'm fine. That's not what I asked. Above them, the voices of their partners rang through as Eren urged Atsumu to hurry and shower before they would be late. The soothing noise of running water followed soon after. It doesn't matter. It's just the normal amount. Kiyomi, the normal amount of pain is none. It isn't for me. He could see the tension in his jaw as Sakusa straightened his back and reached for the food. At this point, they were going to be late. Atsumu and Eren would have to eat their portions on the way or at their respective gyms. For a moment, it was just that. Sakusa attempting to eat without choking and pretending to feel fine, and Kita observing him thoughtfully. I think you should stay home. The ace faltered but didn't reply. There was something in his eyes, the reflection of an inner battle between his pride and fears, and reason. You did well recently, and won the last match flawlessly. This won't set you behind unless you try to push through and get injured. The raven had stopped eating. Kita knew by now it made him feel uncomfortable. Everything made him feel uncomfortable on flare-up days. The pain, the sensitivity of his skin and stomach, making eating anything acidic or crunchy painful, and the emotional burden of having his weaknesses pointed out so unmistakably. He lowered his chopsticks and placed them beside his plate. Although he failed to communicate it with words, Kita knew he saw reason. He got up and began packing the rest into bento boxes for Eren and Atsumu, as well as packing some of it to share with Kiyomi later. Before he could reassure him, Atsumu came down in a haste, his eyes lighting up as he noticed the bento boxes. Shinsuke, you're the best. I wouldn't know what to do without you. He gave him a quick kiss before reaching to pack the box in his back. Eren accepted his with a warm smile and a kiss to his forehead that made Kita feel warm inside. Make sure you relax today, alright? You must be sore from all the work on the field. I'll make sure to take it slow. Atsumu rushed back, his gaze sweeping over the counter again. No bucks for Ami? Playing favorites, Chin, or was a perfect ace fast as always? Kita sighed internally at his poor choice of words, but it wasn't like he could know today would be a bad day for the spiker. None of that, though he was more punctual than the two of you. The blonde had at least the decency to look sheepish. You'll be going alone to practice today. Would you inform the coach that Haikyuu isn't feeling well? Atsumu faltered. His expression quickly morphed into one of concern and his eyes fell on Sakusa. He nodded and closed the distance between them. Just like Kita, he offered the spiker a small distance to cross on his own terms as he reassured him. When Sakusa reached out, Atsumu pulled him into a tender hug, resting the raven's head against his chest. It'll be alright. It's just a bad day. You've dealt with those before. Even if it turns out to be a bad week, that won't stop you. Allow yourself some healing and rest, and soon those flexible wrists of yours will be our opponent's problem again, not yours. The ace nodded slowly and released Atsumu to send him off. Eren too wished him goodbye before leaving in a hurry. The silence lingered for a moment before Kita approached him again. Would you like to rest some more first, or treat the symptoms? Sakusa allowed himself to slump over on the table and let his head rest against the wood. Misery crossed over his face and Kita felt his heart ache at the sight. I think I need some ibuprofen today. I'll get it. Kita nodded. He had suspected it was worse than he let on if even his schooled attempts to hide it went this poorly. Sakusa was particular and hesitant to use any form of aid, even if it would make his life easier. He was stubbornly independent, probably a result of his upbringing, and only slowly made progress regarding that. Kita hoped him asking for pain medication was at least partially to be attributed to that progress, rather than how bad it had gotten. He offered him the pills and a glass of water, feeling his tension grow as Sakusa struggled to swallow them right away. Is it okay if I do a brief checkup? Sakusa groaned but nodded and sat up again. This time the discomfort was visible on his face. He offered his hands to Kita, who gently weighed them in his as he began inspecting the joints. Can you tell me where it hurts? Everywhere, mostly. But my wrists are the worst, and my back and shoulders as well. It sucks. Kita hummed in agreement and carefully traced the affected area at his hands. It was warm and slightly swollen. He proceeded to help him pull a shirt over his head and began examining his shoulders and lower back. A few new bruises lined his arms, and he found a couple on his chest as well, probably from diving for the ball. He traced them with experienced hands, taking note as usual of the different textures with stretch marks painted as skin at his sides and hips. They were like markers on a hiking trail for him by now, as he followed a familiar route to assess his partner's well-being. As expected, many of his joints seemed agitated, and the connecting muscles tense. Luckily, nothing appeared to be sprained or dislocated. Can you stand up for me? I'd rather not. I feel nauseous just thinking about it. Kita frowned, taking his pale complexion once more and feeling for his temperature. Temperature dysregulation could be a symptom of his illness as well, but he'd rather not it be an infection that caused this. Luckily, his temperature was normal and he showed no other signs of infection. His eyes weren't glossy, and he wasn't sneezing or sickly pale beyond some exhaustion, and any coughing came only from choking on beverages or food. That bad? Should I help you over to the couch so you can lay down? Instead of giving a reply, Sakusa got up and stood, his posture still slumped as he tried to readjust and take a few steps. Kita observed him critically for any signs he might faint or lose his balance, but he managed. He was slightly more wobbly in his steps, his ankles bent unnaturally on occasion when he had to overcorrect for his fatigue, which worsened his depth perception and motor function. But he could walk fine. Any dizziness or vertigo? A little, but it's manageable. Walking's fine, standing hurts. It'll be better once the meds kick in. He nodded thoughtfully again while Sakusa leaned against the wall. He looked exhausted and discouraged. How about I'll try your bath? Maybe the warmth will help a little and it'll take pressure off the joints to be in water. It could help reach the time until the meds take effect. The spiker thought about it for a moment before nodding slowly. Thanks, Shinsuke. I'm sorry for the trouble. Kita shook his head as he put away the last thing still on the table. It's not trouble to me. While I dislike seeing you in pain, I relish in the idea that I'm capable of lifting some of your burden. You might never have noticed, but I like taking care of others. He smiled, and a small huff of amusement resonated from Sakusa's chest at the light-hearted job. Kita wasn't outgoing, nor could he imagine doing a job that required him to work with people a lot, like a charity worker, teacher, or nurse, that most people thought of when they enjoyed helping others. Yet, he enjoyed doing good, to the best of his capacity. And he enjoyed it even more if that included those he was closest to and made their life easier in the process. He wasn't scared of hard work. While social situations could be tricky for him, he didn't shy away from the boring, repetitive, or uncomfortable tasks others avoided. Going through the same routine every time Sakusa had a flare-up day was almost soothing. He took pride and comfort in learning and, more importantly, knowing by now what could bring his partner relief. While Sakusa soaked in the bath and proudly worked through the disappointment and frustration of another day seemingly lost to his disability, he prepared the things he knew would aid him now that Sakusa had accepted his help. Shinsuke? Can you... The spiker called out to him from the bathroom, and immediately Kita followed. He found him sitting on the edge of the bathtub, bottom half wrapped in a towel and shaking slightly. I'm sorry. I think the humidity and temperature is worsening the vertigo. No need to apologize. Do you want me to dry your hair and help you to bed? He nodded, looking even more miserable than before. Kita refrained from commenting on it until Sakusa was comfortably placed on the mattress and dressed in fresh pajamas. He gently took his hands again and began applying a cooling lotion onto his wrists as he spoke. I know this is hard for you. I can't imagine how frustrating it must be for your body to disobey you and ache, especially when it was fine the days before. It must feel horrible losing abilities that you usually have, and as though you are becoming dependent on others when you ask for help. He heard a suppressed sob, felt how it tore from Sakusa's chest and attempted to claw its way from his throat. Gently, he used the towel still under the raven's head to wipe the stray tear away falling from his eyes. He helped him sit up again and began applying the same lotion onto his shoulders and attached a heating pad to his back. You are not becoming dependent. The dark eyes still avoided his, but he leaned into his touch as Kita worked. I know I would feel like that, but I also know that you could have managed without me. I'm just making it easier for you, and that's okay. Knowing when to ask for help or to accept the help offered is a sign of independence as well. It's knowing your limits and taking agency, even if it involves other people. And Sumo is right. Your body will recover and you will be able to stand on the court again, making your hypermobility everybody else's problem instead of your own. He offered him a tray with green tea he had prepared and some okayu, as well as water. For now, focus on resting. Don't think about tomorrow. You can be frustrated and angry. You can grieve the time that has been taken from you. Just tell me if you need anything. Sakusa nodded. He took in a few shaky breaths before patting the bed next to him weakly. Will you stay and eat with me? A warm smile tugged Kita's lips and he hummed in agreement. I prepared some rice and tea for later. I'll make myself a portion and join you. Would you like to pick a movie or series to watch? He nodded again, and Kita swiftly set out to put the plan into action. He truly hated seeing Kiyomi in pain, but taking care of him and feeling the tension melt away under his touch, even if just by a tiny bit, was one of the best feelings in the world. He often mused how the deepest connection and comfort was only found beyond equally deep cutting pain, a dilemma he finds himself unable to fully comprehend and integrate. Thank you so much for watching to the end. It means the world to me. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I really hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I used this story, I used a lot of my own experiences with joint pain and hypermobility, but also with autism. As most of you know, my headcanon is that Kita is autistic, and that reflects in the way that I write him. I hope that I could represent this accurately and the feelings that come with struggling with things such as chronic illness your whole life. This is still a very new revelation for me, so yeah. A special thanks as always goes out to my neckos. Special thanks to Stars Vlogs who rejoined. You all mean the world to me, and thank you so much for supporting this channel. And yeah, tell me your favorite quote under the pinned comment. Here are my other social media, check them out if you like, and check out the Discord server. It is linked in the description, so yeah. And here's my content. Check that out if you like. And I hope you have a wonderful amazing day. Bye.
Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day.